everybody, my name is Kian. If you haven't been here before, I am so excited to be back filming videos. This is the first official video I've sat down and filmed since the honeymoon. So I'm really excited. It's sad to say that I miss work because I did, but that's just a testament to how much I love doing videos and content creation and all that stuff. I am so excited for today's video. I just decided to sit down and do a wedding Q&A. Kyle and I filmed a more in-depth wedding Q&A, more so about the experience of the wedding from both sides, and that is on our couples channel. So if you guys want to watch that, I'll have it linked here. But I wanted to do another wedding Q&A more geared towards brides and wedding planning, since I documented a lot of my wedding planning experience on this channel. So yeah, that is what today's video is about. I wanted to say a big thank you to today's sponsor, which is Chemistry. And I am so excited because they are a Christian brand, and any opportunity that I get to incorporate Christian brands or companies or small businesses into my channel, I definitely want to do so. It's so exciting that I get to partner with a Christian company, and they are a Christian apparel company. They were kind enough to send me some of their shirts, so I'll have those all inserted now. If you guys are interested in any of their shirts, I love that they have a big cross on them. They just display the gospel of Jesus. I love wearing shirts like this out in public, or when Kyle ever wears a shirt like this out in public. It just provokes conversation between strangers, and I see it all the time. So if you are looking for some Christian apparel, highly recommend them. All of the shirts are very comfortable and soft, and you can use the code KIANT for a 10% discount on your order. So thank you again to Chemistry for sponsoring this video, and let's get into the questions. I asked you guys on Instagram to send in your questions. If you're not following me there, I will have it right here. And who knows, I don't know. I am in the process of hardcore debating if I should change my Instagram handle. I believe I'm going to. It's kind of hard to part with your last name. I don't know. Okay, first question, how does it feel to know you get to have a lifelong sleepover with your best friend? And it is so amazing being able to sleep in the same bed as Kyle. He never has to leave at night, and it's amazing to wake up with him and just having like no boundaries in anything, and we just get to completely be ourselves and free, and it's great. I will say that adjusting to sleeping with someone has been hard, so there's been a lot of tossing and turning, and we're definitely adjusting. I'm not used to sleeping with somebody, so we both are like waking up a lot while we're sleeping, so please pray for our rest. I know I'll get used to it. We'll both get used to it eventually. But Amanda asked, what was the most stressful thing about wedding planning? I tried not to be stressed throughout the planning. I think the most stressful part was probably the last month, because that's when I realized I had so many little things that I hadn't done yet or forgot to order. So there was a few days where I just realized, like, oh my goodness, I have so much to do, and I started getting a little stressed. I think another thing that's stressful about wedding planning is your fiance doesn't understand what you're going through, and that can be a stressor on the relationship. Is, you know, obviously most brides take control of planning the entire wedding, and they care more about what the wedding looks like. Kyle didn't really care what it looked like. He just wanted to get married, and he didn't really have the creative eye that I did for like the vision of the wedding. So he handed that over to me, and he was trying his best to support me throughout the process, but at the end of the day, they just do not get it and they don't understand. So some really good advice that my wedding planner gave me was, don't expect your fiance to understand what it's like on your side. If you want to vent or rant about wedding stuff, ask somebody or talk to somebody, a former bride who has been married, because she will understand you way more than your fiance ever will. So I would say that was probably the most stressful part. Someone asked, did your bridesmaid do their own hair and makeup, or did someone else do it? I gave my bridesmaid an option if they wanted me to hire somebody and bring someone in for makeup and hair, but everyone ended up opting to do their own. And then one of my friends, Justine, helped a lot of the bridesmaids and like my mom, and helped them with their makeup as well. Someone asked how to handle bridesmaid wars when one thinks they deserve to be a bridesmaid or maid of honor. I was very blessed that I didn't really have much bridesmaid drama. I actually decided not to have a maid of honor, and probably for this exact thing. I didn't want anyone to feel like entitled or feel like one person deserved it more than the other. So I just decided not to have a maid of honor, and all I did was send out a text asking what people's strengths were, what they were interested in planning, and then delegated everything to everyone instead of having one main person in charge, and that worked really well for me. Morgan asked, were you nervous for the wedding or did you feel peace all day? It was crazy. I was not nervous at all. I was in complete peace. I was so relaxed and chill. I was just chilling. I didn't even feel nervous walking down the aisle. I didn't feel nervous saying our vows or talking in front of people. So that was really cool. This person asked to stay anonymous, and she asked, which one is better, a small or a big wedding? We ended up having about like 85 people. We invited 170, and I'm glad that it dwindled down to 85. I think that was a really good number. It really just depends what you want and how much money you want to spend. Smaller weddings are obviously great if you want something more intimate and you want to save money. However, I know I wanted enough people there for it to feel like a party. We wanted the big experience and the dance floor and the big dinner and all that stuff. So we ended up wanting to stay at about 100 people and ended up with about 80 or so. Somebody asked, what would you do differently if you could do it all again? I answered this a little bit in our other Q&A, but I'm gonna talk more about the planning side of it as a bride. I would definitely not DIY as much as I did, because some of the DIYs didn't even save me that much money. One in particular, I would probably not try to DIY the napkins and table runners. I ended up ordering table runners because after trying to DIY the napkins, I was like, this sucks. And I think it could have been a lot easier if I tried to wash dye, but I tried to like hand dye all of our napkins and it was so miserable. So I would definitely do that differently, because I didn't end up saving any money and I definitely wasted a bunch of time. So I would say that, just not DIY some things. I probably would have delegated more to my bridesmaids. It was hard. I probably would have invited people over more to help me with things and doing decor stuff. I did a decent amount, but I probably could have delegated even more. I would have had more people help my coordinator set up. The setup ended up taking way longer than expected. And so when we arrived at the venue to start doing a couple pictures, it still wasn't done yet, which I was fine. I wasn't stressed about it. I knew she would execute it. However, it was so hot outside that they were getting heat exhaustion. So I would have just sent more people over to the venue to help them set up, and probably had the rentals get there a lot earlier. They got there at 11, and apparently it took them 4 hours to unload the rentals, and it was just the tables and the benches. So I would have them there a lot earlier, even in the morning, so they could, it could be a little bit cooler. But yeah, I would do all of those things differently. If I can think of anything else, I'll let you guys know. Someone asked where my bridesmaid dresses were, and they are from a company called Baltic Born, and I'll have them linked in the description. How could others have been more helpful to you in the wedding planning season? That is a great question. I will brag on my bridesmaids right now, and one thing I will say is have bridesmaids who are selfless and caring and helpful, because I had a few bridesmaids on my wedding day who were constantly asking if I need anything, and they were just so helpful. It was amazing to have people on my wedding day who just were so serving and had servants' hearts. They were constantly asking if I needed anything. I was like, hey, I need this place cleaned out, and like 30 seconds later, all of them would go clean things out, and I don't know, everyone was so amazing and supportive. So if you are bridesmaids, I would just constantly be asking the bride what they need help with, if they need water, and all those things, and love the bride like Jesus, because she needs it. People just reaching out to the bride is a huge thing. Just texting her throughout the planning process, asking her if she needs anything is so helpful, because a lot of times the bride doesn't really feel like the bride doesn't feel like she needs to text people for help. She would rather people ask and offer. I guess it all depends on the bride too. Somebody asked, did you feel lost once the wedding is over? Going from so much to plan to do it over and then be done with. Oh my goodness, yes. I think this was the one thing I did not expect at all. Leading up to the wedding, I was so excited for planning to be over, and that's what I kept saying. I was like, I'm so excited for this to be over. It's gonna be so nice. I'm gonna have so much mental space. And then the wedding happened, and then I would say the first 2 days of our honeymoon, I was like in shock. I was just like feeling so bleh, and it was just so crazy going from super busy, planning 24/7, having this huge thing to look forward to then being on a honeymoon where we're just supposed to relax and do nothing and stay off our phones and all this stuff. I felt like so not myself, and especially just going to like a very relaxing thing for 9 days, I was going crazy. So that's why I say it's so good to be back working, because it just feels more energizing. I don't know, it's so hard to explain. If you guys have experienced this, let me know, but that's definitely not something I was expecting. So yeah, and especially because I could completely like check out of work while I was away. I don't know, it was just so weird. Someone asked if it was awkward when Kyle was dancing on you in front of everyone you know. So if you guys don't know what she's referring to, Kyle did a very expressive garter dance, and I wasn't expecting it at all. I'll insert a couple of clips when he was like joking about it.
Oh, no, okay. So he's gonna, yeah, we're gonna call all the guys out for the garter toss. And then you sit down, or you're already sitting down. I think you're already sitting down. And then when he says we're gonna call the guys out, all the guys are kind of like, I don't know. And then you just see me like, and then, who let the dogs out? And then all the other guys are gonna be like, oh, okay. And then they're gonna come up. And it's like, who let the dogs out? I'm just like, oh! And then once the guys are out, and it does like who let the dogs out like 3 times, stop it. then it's just like it stops and it goes, when I get that feeling, I'm like, sexual healing.
Yeah.
And then we just go into it.
You go into it. I'm just sitting here enjoying the show.
What do you think?
It's a great idea.
At first he didn't even want to do a garter dance because he didn't want to like do that in front of everybody. But I showed him a few videos of other Christian couples who had done it in like a tasteful and like very cute and flirty way. And so he decided to do it. And then all of a sudden at the wedding, he was just like outrageous and going in, like giving me a lap dance and all this stuff. But I thought it was really funny and cute. I wasn't embarrassed at all. I don't know how everyone else felt, but I thought it was so funny. And I thought, I mean, of our whole wedding, that was like the sexiest part. And because we waited till marriage, I thought that was just like a fun thing to do. But obviously everyone to each their own. I know a lot of people who aren't comfortable with that, but you guys know me, and if you know me, you know I don't get embarrassed easily. And I just thought it was really awesome. Somebody asked things you would need that you wouldn't think about. So this is like the weirdest advice I will give you, and it's the weirdest advice that I've heard, but my wedding coordinator told me to wear a tampon on the wedding day because down there sweats a lot. And I was like, okay, but I actually did it, and I will say I would recommend it because it definitely helped with the sweating. Somebody asked, what was your budget? How did you know how much you were comfortable spending? So I actually asked my dad for help with this. That was something in the beginning that was very stressful that I forgot about, was the budgeting thing. Back in the day, Kyle was not comfortable talking about finances, and it was a stronghold in his life, so that made it especially hard. But we worked through that, and my dad is very good with numbers, so I asked him for his help. First, you need to figure out how much time you need to spend and how much you want to spend. We looked at our income, which if you've heard of Dave Ramsey, I would highly recommend doing that and starting budgeting and starting using the Every Dollar app. That was very helpful for us. So we decided about $20,000. So once you decide on a number, you have to look at your income and all of your expenses and decide how long do you need to save that much money? Do you have anything saved? Okay, great, you have this much saved. Now we need to save X amount over the next whatever until our wedding. So then from there, you start doing math, dividing it up, and really see like, okay, we make enough money to be saving $1,000 a month for the wedding or $2,000 a month for the wedding. And then you just calculate it out and decide, okay, this is what we want to spend and this is how much we can save each month. So doing the math, how many months do we need to save up? So for us, we needed, I think, 6 to 8 months to save that money. So that's what we did, and we just budgeted into our Every Dollar app, wedding savings every month. Do take into account that some vendors can be paid after the wedding. Usually it's only your videographer and photographer because they get paid. Some get paid the day of the wedding, but some don't get paid till the photos and video are completed. So that was something that helped us, is we didn't owe the videographer until after the wedding. But those are all things to take into account. And yeah, once you figure out your number, yeah, you just start saving. What is one thing you felt like was a waste of money? That's a good question. I feel like I didn't really go all out on things. Like we didn't have like a photo booth or any of those things. We got almost all of our vendors for a really good price. So I honestly don't think anything was a waste of money. I would say if anything, it was the napkins that I DIY'd myself. I should have just gone with the caterer's napkins that were free. I think that was probably the biggest waste of money. But other than that, I think everything was worth it. My wedding planner's name was Brittany. She works for a company called Bridal Stitch. She started it herself, so I will have her linked below. Someone asked the name of the wedding planner. Highly recommend her. Funny story is, I think I mentioned it, she got heat exhaustion or heat stroke. I'm not sure of the correct term. Honestly, this actually isn't funny. But just to go, like, to show you how amazing she is, she literally had heat stroke from setting up, was throwing up, and came right back and finished and executed the whole entire wedding. So she's committed and she is a soldier and she's amazing. So someone said, I just got engaged. What do I do now? LOL. Oh my goodness. Yes, I've been there. So I think the first thing you should do is, do I want to start wedding planning now or do I want a couple of months? So I started to wedding plan even before I was engaged because our timeline was shorter and it was just so stressful and it was just too much for me. So basically I decided to take like a month or 2 months after we were engaged and just not do any wedding planning besides dress shopping. So if you were engaged, I would first decide if you need some time before you even think about planning, if you just need a couple months to adjust to this new idea of being engaged and getting married, or if you want to dive in, I would say get your dress, your venue, because that way you can set your date and your budget. I would say those are the 3 big things, and then next would be your videographer and photographer. Those are the 5 things that you should get done after you get engaged. I would say, I mean, it really just depends how soon you're getting married, but those are the things that go the fastest and are the most important and that take the longest. So someone going along with that said, what vendors do you think you need to prioritize the most? I would say the venue, videographer, photographer. And yeah, I don't know. When it comes to catering, we actually found somebody on the app Thumbtack because catering was a big cost. None of the big caterers could do it in our budget. So we actually found someone on Thumbtack, which I was definitely iffy about, but he ended up being amazing and he went above and beyond, and it was a flat rate, which was awesome because a lot of the other catering companies charge you per plate, like per utensil, per napkin, like it's all extras per person, but he just agreed on a flat rate for how many guests we had, and yeah, that was really awesome. I would also say to prioritize a day of wedding coordinator. I could not have done it without it. There's so many things you don't think about on your wedding day and you don't want to think about or worry about, like who's setting up, who's cleaning up, who's packing everything up, who's getting this where, all of these things, who is being in communication with all the vendors, all of that stuff. There's so much to think about that you don't even realize. So I would definitely prioritize hiring a day of coordinator at least, at the minimum. Somebody asked if we were exhausted the night of the wedding. We actually kept our energy up until after all the fun stuff, if you know what I'm talking about. And then we were so exhausted, and then we were exhausted the next day and the day after that. We were exhausted for a solid 2 days after the wedding. All right, everybody, that is all the questions I'm answering in today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I can continue to do some wedding stuff, but I obviously don't want to flood you guys with too much wedding stuff because that's really all I've been posting lately. But a few of you guys did ask for more of an in-depth into budgeting and budgeting tips. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I also do have footage from when I first found my wedding dress, when it came in the mail, alterations and stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in seeing all of that footage, I might insert that in like a future vlog or another wedding related video. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for all your prayers, well wishes, and congratulations. I appreciate you guys so much. And I am so excited to be back spending time with you and just dedicating more time to this channel and you guys and talking to you guys. So thank you so much for all your support. I love you and Jesus loves you. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. Bye.